Good Monday morning. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Michelle Beck. Today, fear and uncertainty in Minnesota's Somali community is turning into action at the state capitol. It's all coming after President Trump pledged to immediately end temporary legal protections for Somali migrants living in the state. Audrey Russo is at the Capitol, where community leaders are preparing to speak out about what they call Islamophobic rhetoric. Audrey.
Good morning. Yeah, that gathering is expected to get underway at 11 here at the Capitol. And they're going to be discussing President Trump's announcement, which state Muslim organizations say could end temporary protected status for roughly 400 Somalis living here in Minnesota. So what is TPS, or temporary protected status? Well, it allows foreigners to live and work in the U.S. without fear of being deported back to a country that has unsafe conditions. Now, it was last extended for Somalis through March 17th of 2026. TPS began in 1991 for Somalis due to civil war in the country, and it's continued all these years later because of ongoing conflict with terror groups like Al-Shabaab and humanitarian issues like disease and famine. Now, in the last 24 hours, people from all backgrounds packed into Minneapolis's Carmel Mall to show support for Somalis.
We support each other.
Yes.
We help each other.
Yes.
We unite for each other.
Yes.
Nothing can divide us.
Right.
And right now there's some confusion over where that TPS status stands, because in President Trump's Truth Social post, he said that it was terminated for Somalis, quote, effective immediately. But at MSP yesterday, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said that there's actually a law that needs to be followed by the agency in order to evaluate the program. Back to you.
Developing right now, Highway 169 in New Hope is back open this morning after a car fire. It happened in the southbound lane near Rockford Road around 6:30 this morning. Right now, it's not exactly clear what caused the fire or if anybody was hurt. We'll let you know as soon as we learn anything new. New details on a deadly crash on 169 in Shakopee overnight. State Patrol tells us a woman is dead after her vehicle was hit from behind by a speeding SUV overnight. That happened in the southbound lane near Marystown Road. Her car rolled into the ditch, and the SUV, driven by a 20-year-old man, was blocking the right lane for several hours as officials investigated. According to State Patrol, alcohol was a factor in this crash, but exactly how isn't clear. What led up to the crash is still under investigation. This morning, the Slender Man attacker in Wisconsin is back in jail. She was on the run since Saturday night until late last night when authorities caught her. Madison police say Morgan Geyser cut off her ankle monitor and left her group home Saturday. But after 24 hours of freedom, she was arrested in Illinois. Geyser and another girl stabbed their classmate in 2014, nearly killing her, to appease the fictional character known as Slender Man. In January, a judge ruled she could be let out of a mental hospital and transferred to a group home. This morning, new hopes and fresh tensions as President Trump presses for an end to Russia's war on Ukraine. Amid high-stakes peace talks between the U.S. and Ukraine Sunday, President Trump publicly accused Ukrainian leadership of showing zero gratitude for U.S. support. It comes as his administration is pressing Ukraine to accept a 28-point peace plan by Thanksgiving, despite growing concerns over whose interests it serves. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest.
Hi there. We're seeing attention to the war in Ukraine surge back to the forefront with President Trump's renewed focus on ending the long and deadly conflict by Thanksgiving, though there are new concerns about the means of getting to peace. In Ukraine, a difficult winter is closing in, with Russian strikes only increasing. Both sides are now targeting the other's heat and power grids. And as the U.S. works to broker a truce by Thanksgiving,
we've had probably the most productive and meaningful meeting so far.
President Trump injecting new tensions in a post accusing Ukraine's leadership of expressing zero gratitude for his administration's efforts, just as high-level U.S. and Ukraine delegations met in Geneva, with the Ukrainians voicing thanks.
We have very good progress, and we are moving forward to the just and lasting peace.
In a joint statement, the U.S. and Ukraine saying they had updated and refined the peace framework President Trump has been pressing for, despite its raising alarm among Ukrainian and European leadership and bipartisan lawmakers for favoring Russia, some even questioning whether it's a U.S. or a Russian proposal.
What the president has put out here is a plan that is very favorable to Russia.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio clarifying the U.S. did author the initial 28-point peace plan that runs counter to several top Ukrainian priorities, calling for Ukraine to give up a fifth of its territory, including portions Russia does not occupy, shrinking the Ukrainian military by about a third and blocking its path to join NATO. President Trump saying there is room to negotiate.
Is this your final offer to Ukraine?
No, not right now.
European allies pushing to strengthen the terms for Ukraine and weaken the risk of further Russian aggression. In a new statement, Ukrainian President Zelensky said his country is grateful to the United States, to every American heart, and personally to President Trump. He previously said the peace proposal was forcing Ukraine to choose between losing its dignity or a key partner. In Washington, I'm Alice Barr. Back to you.
So here's something we don't hear every day. Costs are going down. In this case, it's the price of Thanksgiving dinner. According to the American Farm Bureau, the cost for Thanksgiving dinner for 10 people is about $55. That breaks down to just over $5 per person. And that's even less than last year. The centerpiece is, of course, the turkey. And turkey prices at grocery stores are down because retailers are offering big discounts. However, the USDA says the wholesale price of a frozen turkey is about $1.35 per pound, about 40 cents higher than last year. Turkey growers in Minnesota say there is a healthy supply on the market right now.
You know, your typical Thanksgiving bird that you're going to get is probably going to be frozen, so it could have been produced any time in the last year, and it's been in cold storage for a while. We have storage all over the country, and if there's more greater demand in one part of the country, we can move birds around.
The Farm Bureau says the most significant increases for Thanksgiving foods are sweet potatoes, up 37%, and a veggie tray, up 61%. Cold weather is moving in. That's why Minneapolis city leaders say they are expanding resources for people experiencing homelessness. Hennepin County's Office of Housing Stability says it's added 83 beds to its homeless response system to meet the increased demand. The county will also maintain 50 overnight drop-in spaces. That's on top of a commitment of $14 million from the city of Minneapolis to add 130 shelter beds. An expansion, Mayor Fry says, is critical due to federal cuts.
Hitting on rough times is not a partisan issue. You know, it's not like just Democrats are homeless. And so it's deeply concerning about these cuts that we're looking at. Is Minneapolis going to step up? The answer is absolutely.
Winter warming services in Hennepin County have been open since November 1st and will be available through April 30th. Tributes continue to pour in this morning for a legendary musician who helped create the Minneapolis sound. Jelly Bean Johnson died Friday at the age of 69. Johnson's family posted on social media the original drummer for The Time passed away 2 days after his 69th birthday. Tributes to his legacy, including one from Paisley Park, saying, quote, "His talent, spirit, and unmistakable musical presence touched countless lives. Our community has lost an icon." In addition to being a founding member of Prince's band, he also worked with Janet Jackson and New Edition. In this morning's Communities That Care, we're highlighting Fashion Fest, a night of fashion with a purpose in Minneapolis. Our Jason Hackett was there.
Hey everybody, Jason Hackett here. I just finished walking at Fashion Fest. This is the 13th annual event. It benefits M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital, and it's such a fun event. I mean, it's all about food, it's all about fashion, and you can see some of the fashion here behind me, some of the outfits that the models were wearing, and these models are coming from all walks of life.
Jay, we're doing it!
Talking about community influencers, reality TV stars, and yes, local television news anchors. So I was able to walk for Trail March, You see their sign right here behind me. It was a lot of fun, so exhilarating. The crowd was absolutely crazy. Fashion Fest, such an amazing event, and I am proud and honored to support it and walk in the fashion show for the 3rd year in a row. Whew. Okay, so now that that's over with, it's time to get some sleep. Back to you.
And he looks so great doing it. Well, the Minnesota United's playoff run continues tonight at Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego. Their conference semifinal kicking off at 9 p.m. The Loons were out practicing in the California sun yesterday. Their match tonight will set the conference finals bracket. If they win, they'll play Vancouver next. 2 more wins and they'll be in the championship, a first for the team. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.